The Temple of Speed holds round 14 of Season 11 RPL F1. Last week in Zandvoort, we had Leo Lund take victory to really no one's surprise, but now we go to Monza, where things have changed a week later. One of the big storylines heading into this event is home driver Florian van Zelter, who finished on the podium right behind Leo Lund after going from P19 to P2, is in the Red Bull at his home race. Can he win? We're going to find out. Welcome along, Titan. Welcome along, chat. It's good to all have you. I'm Ryan Searles, and my partner in crime, once again, for the first time in 2 months in Tier 1, is RPL Titan Iron. As I said, welcome, and I'm glad to have you.
Yeah, a bit of a deja vu. Had some fun earlier in F2. But now we're in Tier 1. First time teaming up in a while. I'm actually very stoked. It's going to be very fun. I cannot wait for this. I mean, Temple of Speed, Florian in the Red Bull. I mean, we do have a couple of home drivers involved in this race. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the fun.
I am too. I really am. And I want to give a big congrats to our winners so far from this weekend. Tier 3, we had Uri win his second race. Tier 2, we had George Up Williams break a winless drought. And for F2 earlier on today, we had Jack Miles sweep the weekend in Miami. So we have lots of things that we are very excited of that already happened this weekend. One of the things I'm excited of, Titan, is this track. Last season, Cookie spun from the race lead in lap 1 and recovered to finish back in front and win the race, but it took him to lap 16 to get back to the lead. And NRM KVS is the one he passed and beat for the victory. Tyler Freeman on his debut got taken out by the Chiller on the last lap, but Alpine have quite the history around here. They won back in Season 8 with Lewis Piper on a move made with a lap to go on Race Dainty and the fake TB. Season 9, we had Skither box from the lead and kind of throw away the race in a way, I guess, going for a new pair of inners under the VSC. Luke Range won his most recent and last Tier 1 race at the time. And in Season 7, we had Beatnik win for the first time after the Chiller and Jacob took each other out of contention. Jack Miles and Reese Dainty, both Mercedes, finished on the podium that day. There are so many races in the past to talk about with Monza, and one more importantly that we did not talk about goes back to the first 2 seasons of this track with the Chiller, Ding. He won for Ferrari. Home driver, 2 home drivers in this event. We have Florian and Andrea.
Yeah, so Florian and Andrea, the hometown runners for this one. I mean, technically, and as you can see, if you're seeing it on the stream, you see Egg having the Italian flag. But let's be fair, he does switch his flag every week. So this interesting nonetheless, just to see him represent the track that we're gonna be at today. Well, we got 18 at the moment. Looks like we could have 2 more coming because we got 2 guys coming in later. Oh, there's one of them, Owen. There's Owen that's here. So that just leaves a newcomer, supposed newcomer to come to show up, but he's not here yet.
Yeah, this should be a fun event, Titan. We have some headlines to go over. One of those headlines is that Josh had his contract terminated for next season, I believe. That sounds about right. And Zakaria, after an incident he caused at Zandvoort that was deemed intentional, he has been handed a race ban. And Metal and Kieran already serving their season bans to finish out the season. That's just as a reminder for those of you who are not here in Hungary. That is why you do not see them on our grid any longer for Season 11. So I mentioned the standings. Leo Lund, if you've not been here, he's been dominant. He's been fast. But he hasn't been perfect. 68 points he's only ahead of Jack by. And one bad race, one really good race from Jack can definitely put things back in Jack Miles' favor. That is the teammate of Leo's, Jack Miles. And TB and Cookie are in a big battle for third, the two teammates usually. Cookie is not here tonight, giving up a chance to Florian Van Zelter, who was a part of the Red Bull Academy before, was on loan last week, and proved that he can probably beat Leo Lund, so Cookie pulled over and gave him the opportunity. And we have a dry Q1. That is awesome to see. Now let's make sure we're going to have a dry race. I am looking on board with Minico, who's in the Haas. He's loading a setup. I can't see if it's going to rain. He's not showing me that. That'd be lovely if he does show me. But while he does get to that, we're looking at the wings, at least on drivers, which is going to be absolutely crazy. We got 8-0. Some are going to probably do 0-0. The constructors, by the way, McLaren lead that. They were close with Red Bull for the longest time. Now they've got out to a lead of 57 points. Ferrari and Aston Martin are still close for third and fourth. And something to also focus on with these bottom-end teams, especially with JTK getting in the points last week, and Zandvoort, I believe it was a P7 finish for Haas. They jumped to 9th. Well, Sauber is 8th with 32 points. Haas is only 3 back, and Williams is last. They have 24 points, 8 back from Sauber. So we'll keep an eye out for those guys at some point during the rest of the season on what they can do. And our newcomer you were talking about, Titan, he has joined us. We have a full grid tonight. That is so great to see. So, I do not know if there is any rain for the event. I'm going to ask the drivers right now while we do that, but we do not see any rain for Q1, which is a great sight. And the last time we had rain in Monza, Season 9, that was won by Luke Range. And that was the one which Reese Dainty probably does not want to remember, Titan. You would know about that quite well. We mentioned it quite a bit from time to time, that he lagged out from pole position on the start, and really, that's the last and only time I'm pretty sure the pole sitter got hit with a DNS in RPL.
Just bear with me on this 1 second.
I was going to say, I thought I lost you for a moment. So, let's see. I'm going to ask about rain. Any rain, folks? How many is in lobby? Gagi is asking. Well, it's a full 20, so no bueno there. No rain. Okay, at all? No rain at all. I'm gonna ask about that. While we figure that out, and while Titan figures out what he's figuring out, we're gonna ride on board with home driver Florian Van Zelter, who got a podium for the second time in RPL last week. It was his first podium in 3 seasons, and his only other podium came in Canada. And since that Canada podium, he went down to Tier 2 and really struggled to race clean. And he has acknowledged that very openly so many times, that he was trying to do better, race clean, and he got himself into a lot of issues. Even so much to where he was full-time in Tier 1 again for the second half of last season. And it was that exact round that we ran last week, a season prior, that he collided with Jack Miles. And funny enough, he was racing Jack Miles to the podium spot, the second place podium spot last week. So we shall see what ends up happening for Florian Van Zelter's case. He's almost out of battery. He crosses the line. This will be the benchmark. It's an 18.6 for the home man. We'll go to Ian Maxwell G, who has had success in RPL 10 times in the top step of the podium. He is invalidated, and you could see how frustrated he is wiggling that Alpine right behind the teammate that was trying to give him slipstream. That is Andrea, our second home driver in the event. So, because of Andrea trying to give a slipstream to the teammate and not being able to do so, with Maxwell having a big moment, we now go to Andrea, who starts a lap, and we'll ride on board with him. Our only other driver on a lap is Cam, but Andrea comes through turn 1 and 2, which shall be updated on the next game, not this game. We saw in real life, Titan, the turn 1, 2 have changes in other places as well, but not yet. Not yet for F124, probably next game. But Andrea is now through Sector 1 and into Sector 2. Oh, I see what you're figuring out. Are you figuring out the situation with the Sauber?
Yeah.
Second Sauber.
because it shows torn penguin who joined in, but when I looked at
Doesn't
his
match.
profile,
I
yeah, it
see.
doesn't match. It says Amar de
Yeah.
Pro, and it didn't even match. But
Okay.
they
So
came in
that's
clutch
why.
bench in the time trial, but he's not even loaded in. I think he hit spectator because
Maybe.
he's not loading in,
Maybe.
and he is on the
JTKF1 fan
list,
is
so he
talking
doesn't
about.
need to. He doesn't have a ban.
Yeah, that's true. JTKF1 fan is talking about predictions for tonight. We'll get to that in a moment. We have Andrea crossing, and we get to say it, Titan, for a little bit longer. It's an Italian 1-2 here in Monza. That's great to see.
Yeah, Italian 1-2 it is. Here comes Cam now across the line. He goes, well, way slow. 22.7 for him. He's not having fun on that regard. Looks like who
Owen?
is?
Owen and Eggles?
Yeah,
Yes. Yes, here they come. Egg second. Owen
fourth.
is right in between
Florian
Cam
has
and
gone
Andrea
into the
there.
pits and called it.
I'm a little surprised about that, and I'm going to tell you why in just a moment, but I'm going to try to find someone to ride on board before then. George is getting a slipstream from Leo or Jack? Jack. Jack's completing a lap first, I guess, so we'll go to Jack. You want my prediction then, JTKF1 fan? I think Jack will have a race good enough for a top 3, top 4 tonight for sure. George actually is faster than Jack in a Williams. Wow. That's the car George won with yesterday in Tier 2, by the way. So another congrats to him. We'll go the fake TB. This is why this is important, Titan.
Yeah.
Okay, although Florian retired from the session there very early on, his lap is definitely good enough. I'm
Oh
sure
yeah,
of it.
no doubt.
We have 3 academy teammates of his still out there, or still gonna go out there and do laps. Cryptic's out there, Reese will be, and the fake TB we're riding on board with. Why not practice the slipstream for Q2 and Q3 now in Q1? I know you'd waste a little bit of tires. I get the point of that, but why not help out your teammates here for tonight? I feel like that would make more sense. Even though they may get a safe entry into Q2 and Q3 with the cars they're in. I mean, it's not fully guaranteed, but with their pace, Cryptic, Reese, and TBs, I mean, yeah, they should be in Q2, but why not practice that strip stream now to perfect it for Q3 when trying to beat Leo for pole? That's what I just don't understand from Florian doing that a little early.
Oh, well, by the looks of it, Gecko has crashed out.
Oh,
Gecko is wrecked, so he is going to be
oh,
starting dead last in this field.
that is not good. And you know what's not even any better? It's been 186 races since he last won for Gecko.
Good
TB
lord.
is crossing the line. We have a little delay with him. He makes it a Red Bull 1-2 though.
I think it's because of
Josh.
the newcomer joining back in, so he can get take control of the Sauber.
Sounds about right to me. Josh goes out of bounds, and that is going to delete his lap time. We'll go on board with Enerm KVS now, his teammate, who's going through turn 1, 2, and 3. Titan, we mentioned the first 2 corners not being reprofiled this game, but it should be next game. However, we're going to take you guys through a lap of Monza. I'll give it to Titan here, right at the Lesmos. Here we go. Heavy braking here for the chicane. You cannot run wide, and these curbs either can be make or break for you tonight. Enerm KVS has to perfect them if he wants to get a good lap in here.
Yeah, here he goes into the second Lesmo, drops it just a gear, just keeping it right on the track limits, up through the gears, heading down the slight hill over the old curve, into the Ascari chicane. Gets to about 210 into the braking zone, nice and easy. Whoa, that was a vicious snap on KVS, but he saved it. That would have been super catastrophic for him, but he kept it in line, but he had to abandon the lap because of that mistake. Got a little too easy on that middle corner on the curb, and that's what caused that really nasty snap. But oof, I think KVS, seeing that kind of snap like that, I think KVS, when he gets back to the garage, he's gonna need a new pair of pants.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully they're an Italian color kind of pants for good luck, because right now we have We have the Italian man on top, so he's taken that to good measure.
Oh my lord.
Hopefully you didn't spit out your drink, so you don't need a new pair either. But either way, Reese Dainty is now on a lap, and Reese has his own server, and you and I are both in there. You know, we take a peek in there every once in a while, and I gave him a fun fact, actually. It was this race in season 7 and 8. Reese, oh, he has a snap, big snap from Reese as he deploys the battery. I was going to say, Reese at this track, recently in times, it's been a bit of a tail. I'll say it's been a bit of a tail for Reese, because the last 2 races here, 1 point at Monza in the last 2 seasons. 1 pole, though. That's great. But that doesn't matter when it comes to your results throughout the season. The 2 seasons prior to that, he finished 2nd in both races, or at least on the podium. I think it was P3 in both, excuse me. Right behind TB and right behind Jack, who finished 2nd, excuse me. So I know Reese would love a lot better. He does go 6th. That's really great. He needs to keep up that good pace. And KVS gone for another one. He went to 4th fastest. And Dom, by the way, he's the only one in this session, Titan, who's on medium compound tires.
To be fair, we have seen a couple of guys. We've seen a couple of guys on occasion go onto the mediums, just so they can get a feel for it. Because a lot of these drivers will be starting on the mediums come the race. It's either going to be a choice of the mediums or the hard compound tires. That's what we'll be seeing a lot of these guys on as the race comes on later on today or tonight, depending on where you are in the world. So Dom basically getting a feel and seeing how the mediums react. So for Q1, it's not that bad at all. And Leo Lund, top of the board, but it's not dominate. It's not a dominant run like we've seen in races past. He's only 2/10 ahead of Florian.
That will be crucial for tonight, that Leo does not have a big enough gap for guys to have a chance at victory, especially because the DRS is so powerful here, the ERS is so powerful here, and track limits may come into play as we've seen so far during this qualifying session. We'll see how that translates toward the race. We have some drivers on laps. Josh is coming through the middle sector, 52.8, JTK 52.7 right there, and Ian Maxwell G going for another lap as well in the process. We'll ride on board with Josh as we go to Parabolica. Some famous corners around here in Monza. Ascari, Parabolica, Lesmos. Josh will cross first, then
The
JTK.
variants, Curva Grande.
Yeah, exactly. JTK and Josh, no battery left to spare, but Josh goes 10th, and JTK slots in a top 5 lap time. Very well done there from the Dutchman. Now we go with Maxwell. I'll have you ride on board with this. Never mind, he's backed off. I was going to have you ride on board with your own driver there, Titan. Now we won't.
That's all
Cryptic,
good.
how about him?
I think Cryptic just set his lap already, so he's probably on a cooldown.
Maybe.
Not.
See. Well, if not, ride on board with this and tell us about turn 4 and onwards.
No, he is actually on the lap. But yeah, here he goes into the second variant. Through here, nice and easy. Don't want to ride too early on the curves. If you catch a little too early in the curve, that will catch your car just a little bit off. Through the Lesmos now. Number 2 Lesmos. Easy back up through the gears. DRS wide open and deployed. There's the Hasa GTK. Might want to move out of your way, buddy. There you go. There comes Cryptic into the Ascari. About 210, just like KVS did. Nice and easier on the curves this time. No snaps. Maybe just a smidge wide in that middle corner, but doesn't seem to be too harmful, perhaps. But here comes Cryptic now into Parabolica to wrap up the lap, down to 5th gear. Now just flat out to finish it off, as Cryptic just roaring his way down to get it done. Comes across the line. He improves to 11th, about 0.3 of an improvement. So, I mean, is it enough to get through to Q2? I honestly do not know.
If it's not enough to get through to Q2, then the guys in 8th, 9th, and 10th might be sweating a little bit. That's for sure. Florian Van Zelter, welcome to the chat tonight. JTKF1 fan, I know you're watching. Faded, Invade, and Cookie. Ian Maxwell G is on a lap, and he's already below 70% on the battery. No surprise there. You want to use your battery quite a bit, but is he saving most of the second half usage for this section here, or the upcoming sections? That'll be the question. Will he get a teammate slipstream? No, that is a Sauber and a Williams in front. Maxwell is purple in the second sector, but for Maxwell's case, though, everyone's talking about the 107% rule in the chat with that, with Cam and him, but with Maxwell, he needs to set a lap better than Minico here if he wants to have a chance at getting through into the next round of qualifying. And it needs to be a clean lap too. He has got one more corner and barely any battery, which I did say he was going to use now. He will cross the line, gonna dip to the white line, find some speed there, and he goes 13th fastest. The one who's going to be sweating is Jack Miles, only 4/10 up. Titan, get to Jack Miles because he is at risk if he doesn't get this lap going. And look at this, George is repaying the favor.
Yeah, like I said, George on loan to Williams tonight, and because he's in the McLaren Academy, and yeah, he did win in Tier 2 yesterday, unofficially. We'll just have to wait on the Stewart report to make sure it's fully confirmed. And Jack slingshots up to 8th fastest, so he is exactly 1 second behind his teammate Leo, but in the top 10. I think Jack should be relatively fine to make it through into queue number 2. And what's really wild is that the guy's in the 19s. Like, literally, it's just about 9/10 of a second separates 4th of Tadpole all the way down to the last guy at the buffer, that being Owen, down in 15th. So 11 drivers within 9/10 of each other.
Egg cracked the top 5 not too long ago, and we have Minico who starts a lap right now, and he is going to get one last lap in here to try and get in Q2. Minico currently out, Cam currently out, Gecko out. He crashed earlier. Dom in the Williams tonight, and Torn Penguin on his debut is rounding the last corner. Well, watch him to see what he can do on his RPL debut and debut for the Sauber team. What's this going to be for Penguin? Will it be good enough? He is just ahead of Minico, but misses out. So if you want to get into the next round of qualifying, you're going to have to knock out either Owen, Maxwell, or George. And Owen is picking up a slipstream from the Williams. Look at this. How much speed can he crack into turn 1 because of that? He didn't use much battery because of the slipstream he got. 214 miles per hour from Owen, who is currently on the bubble and just invalidated too. Now he goes spinning around Owen. He cannot have anybody behind improve on a lap, and Minico is only improving by 2/10 right now. So this is going to be make or break for Minico. It might get him a spot, but it might not even get him Q2 if that's the case. We'll find out. One more corner to go for Minico.
And Cam, who's behind him, has him validated, so unfortunately, I don't know how much time is left, but I think he is going to be done and out. Here comes Minico across the line. And he improves, but stays in 17th. And Cam not going to make it to the line in time. He is done. But what about Dom? Will Dom pull off the upset and knock Owen out of Q1? We'll see what happens. Here comes Dom flying across the line. 19.9 to beat. Oh!
We're going to have both Williams in Q2. Owen has been knocked out.
Holy crap.
Oh my word. Dom at the last moment has found 300s over Owen.
Wow.
And it was his one and done lap too, Titan. Yeah. Both Williams will be there for Q2.
33 thousandths of a second separates Owen and Dom. And Dom is through to Q2. Owen is out. That, I would say that is, I think this is probably going to be, I'm just going to say it in a polite way, I think this is going to be one of the top 5 biggest upsets of Season 11 qualifying.
Well, adding Gecko with that because he crashed earlier on. So we have Owen and Gecko out, meaning we're going to have some surprises in Q3 probably. Look at the teams who are going through to Q2. Both Williams, both Alpines, both V-Carbs. JTK is up there in 6th, having a good qualifying run. I know in Spa a few weeks ago he's under the weather when Dom made Q3 for Williams. So I'm not surprised Dom is through, but I'm surprised with the amount of pressure he had that he got the 1 lap in time. Just enough to get ahead of Owen. Fair play from CRE Dom.
Florian just asked you, did you predict that he was going to win, or was the message in chat not in order?
Oh, I did predict that. I did, but maybe it's not in order for him. I don't know. Here we
Who
go.
knows?
Q1 is done and dusted. Leo Lund is on top in Monza. Then we have both Red Bulls following. Tadpole and Egg round out our top 5. Out in Q1, big surprises. Gecko and Owen. Gecko is joined by 3 Ferrari Academy cars, both Saubers of Cam and Penguin. Cam, no surprise there. Penguin, debut. And for Minico, not feeling as comfortable with the Haas compared to the Sauber from what I've heard so far this weekend. I'm not surprised he's out, but I'm very surprised that there's a super big buffer between him and JTK. I would expect him and JTK to be level with one another, if not Minico, the more experienced driver, slightly ahead. That was not the case.
And you're not gonna believe this. So when Dom did his lap on mediums, but unfortunately invalidated, had his time been legitimate and was not invalidated, he would have gotten on mediums 9th fastest.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That is wild.
So 9th fastest on mediums, but then squeaks out to get into Q2 on a set of sauce.
Cannot believe that. I cannot
I'm
believe that.
thinking honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Perhaps maybe there is some possibly untapped potential in Dom. Well, maybe if he pulls out really good qualifying runs like this and is more consistent in races, who knows? Maybe a midfield team like Aston or something could be knocking on his door saying, "Hey, we could probably put you in this car. See how you do."
Minico says this track is just not good for him, wheel track, so that is one big thing we'll have to focus on. This track, a lot of the people in the chat, even Cookie is saying it, this track benefits the wheel drivers compared to the pad drivers. We're going to find out come this qualifying how the wheel drivers are separated from the pad drivers, and even come the race as well. So one thing I want to mention about the whole Dom thing is he did these kind of performances every once in a while in Tier 2 back in the Haas. I want to see him back in the Haas here in Tier 1. I want to see him go get Haas's first Tier 1 podium. If it's not him, it might be JTK or Minico. So that would be great to see. Everybody looks like they're lining themselves up for the slipstream here in this qualifying session. So out of the ride changes and everything, the only guy I think that really was out in Q1 that is not in the normal ride, or the full-time guy is not here, would be second Sauber of Penguin, if I'm correct, because Owen recently signed for Aston. Is that correct? Or did Owen only have a reserve role?
I actually can't remember. Right, this is in regards to next season, right?
Well, no, this season, because Owen's in Aston now, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember, correct? Honestly.
Okay.
I do know one thing. I do know one thing. I need to like have like the season 12 tier 1, whoever's in there, have that updated. We'll have to get that up to date.
Well, we do have quite a bit until season 12. We have after today 6 more rounds to navigate. Big slides from guys here, all in tow. Look at this. Egg. We have Jack. Who's that Ferrari? Is that Tadpole? Yup. Tadpole right in the middle of this. Everybody's running toe-to-toe on their laps. So if there's a mistake right here and someone goes spinning, this is going to involve 3 cars. So right now, we have Tadpole right behind Jack Miles up in front. And our first one to complete a lap will be Jack Miles, who is getting a tow from Leo Lund. Yep. Leo Lund helping out with the slipstream already in Q2. No surprise there. But it's Jack, Tadpole, Egg. Our first 3 to cross the line. This is the benchmark. Here comes Jack. 19.6. Tadpole 18.9. And Egg just outside of the 18.9s right there. 19.0, excuse me. Yeah, a little farther back is the 20s. Reese, George, and the others cross the line now to complete their laps. Leo starts. No, Leo does not start his. Leo only went out to give Jack a slipstream there and went back in. So how about we ride on board with Florian Van Zelter, Titan? He's going to come through Ascari soon, and he just had a little wiggle, little moment there. Well, could have been catastrophic, but it wasn't. 50% on the battery. He has timed this perfectly to use his ERS down the back straight.
Yeah, he's definitely using the right time to use the ERS available to him.
Ooh.
Oh, got a little too close
Yeah.
and
A little greedy.
invalidated right there. But you know,
A
one
little
thing I
greedy.
have been noticing, I've been seeing it because I'm noticing it on the telemetry part. I've been noticing that the ERS deployment, like that green bar that shows your battery deployment usage, it doesn't go down much.
Yes, I did notice that. A lot has changed in this recent update. KVS is going fast in the first sector. He's got a 26.3. We're going to watch how he uses these curbs in turn 4, 5, and now the Lesmos. How does he perfect this? Right on the left side now, the inside curb should be used here. It does get used, and then the left side does get used as well right there. That's good curb usage from KVS. That is the section you want to use the curbs. Probably about as much as you can. Right here in Ascari is where the curb usage gets a little more trickier on the driver. We saw Florian invalidate. We've seen others invalidate. And I think it was Josh's lap or KVS. One of the other laps, I made a comment on one of the drivers going wide while you were covering at Titan. That's the thing. That Ascari section, you can easily go out wide there, but these are the professionals of RPL Tier 1 and the best of the best. So we see them perfect it more times than we can for sure. KVS crosses, and it is third fastest. And it's pretty much where he was last season in this race, on the podium. Now, can he get a good qualifying spot and get into Q3 with that lap? That will be the question.
Indeed, and, and like I said, in regards to like track limits and stuff, the Ascari chicane is the most notorious for track limits, for warnings and penalties in all of our RPL races in Italy, not just in Tier 1, but just everywhere else in question. Um, let's see, I'm still on with KBS in question. The second variant, that's another corner where you have to be careful in regards to your track limits. That can bite you if you're not careful, if you turn too early for the first corner of the variant or the second corner of it. But also the second Lesmos. If you come
Very
out of
true.
the corner just a bit too wide, that can also catch you off for track limit warnings and penalties. But pretty much one corner that to be honest, I've never seen, well, two corners that I've never seen track limit penalties come from. Well, one is basically impossible, Curva Grande, but also Parabolica. Parabolica is very, very difficult to get a track limit penalty in.
Not in real life, but definitely in the game for sure. That is
Mm-hmm.
a very interesting section. And also, it's one where we've seen some crashes happen. We had one with Minico and Owen last season in that area. We had Cookie in that area spin out by clipping the grass with his rear wheel. We have seen some very interesting moments happen there. Also, that was the difference between Beatnik and Jack. This exact corner right now, Josh is going through. That was what decided Beatnik winning his first race in Monza
Oh, Damas
for
wrecked in
Ferrari as well.
Ascari.
And Dom will not make it to Q3, but Josh crosses the line and is right behind his teammate. Merc Academy 234, but the other Merc Academy car is out of qualifying.
What the heck happened? Because I just saw him on a track map just going through. I'm thinking maybe just got a little hippity hoppity on the last corner of Ascari and then just lost it,
Oh,
or got too close, got too rambunctious on the outer curve of the middle corner of
tell you,
Ascari and just lost it.
if you don't mind me cutting in, Leo Lund is just invalidated again, and he actually gave Jack a slipstream because of him invalidating there. Jack is now pretty much 4 tenths up on the time, completing Sector 1. This could be a miraculous lap from Jack, but an absolute concern for Leo. I almost said Leon. An absolute concern for Leo. Yeah, Leon's that fast now, guys. TB goes second, but yeah, for Leo, it is a concern because he is
Last
just
time,
invalidated
last
and
time
hit trouble
Leon was in
for a
a
second time
top
this session.
The last time Leon was in a top car in Tier 1, he wound up causing a lot of junk and chaos in the race, and wound up getting banned from racing for almost a year.
Well, Florian Van Zelter, who used to cause chaos, is at the front. third place on his lap, and Jack Miles is only 6th with that lap, while George, who is following behind, makes it go 8th fastest. That now knocks Andrea out, who invalidated his lap while he was up 3/10 right there. Leo Lund, will he go again? He's recharging to go again, and he is going again. His teammate is far up the road, though, if he wants a slipstream. We're going to ride on board with the championship leader and the car that leads the Constructors' Championship. Ironically enough, heading into Season 11, McLaren had 11 wins into the season. Is it just fitting for them to go and win the Constructors' Championship this season? I think so. Right now, they have a great chance to do so with the drivers and the Constructors' Championship for the first time. Turn 1, 2, 3 from Leo looked well, but if you're talking from a driver's standpoint from Leo's, he'd probably say that was bad. We'll find out. Little lock up there into turn 4. Little bit wide over the curb in turn 5. It wasn't great, but from Leo's standards, it was probably worse than it was from what we see. With still a few corners to go and 2 more braking zones to go, this should be a good enough lap to be in Q3, even if it's not the fastest, even if it's been a bit scruffy. Leo is at a 52.1. Let's see what our top 2 guys have done. 26.1, 26.2. Leo has done a 26.1, 26.0. So that first sector was scrubby. That second sector wasn't as scrubby. So this is looking to go top of the board, Titan. But how much do we think Leo's going to get it by?
Probably will be the same like it was in Q1, maybe 2 or 3 tenths. I think. Oh, he's abandoned.
Wow, that was abrupt. So
no, I will be honest. I've seen and watched Leo so far for this entire season. I think this is the first time, in hindsight, in regards to like qualifying, we've seen Leo in a vulnerable state in qualifying. That's the first time I've seen it.
The only other one I think of is Bahrain back in Q3 when he was running 10th and validated the first one and invalidated a second one and lost pole to Cookie because of it. With Reese Dainty setting the lap he did, by the way, Titan, that knocks JTK out. And this gap is quite close between Reese and JTK. I said it last week when talking to JTK. It happened in Q1, happened in Q2. Wherever JTK seems to be, Reese is right there with him and vice versa. I think Reese is going for another one. Is he? Yes, he is.
Yes.
A 10th up on our charts. Take it away, Titan. We've got the second chicane now. We're approaching. And gone by.
Yeah, here comes Reese now into the les modes. Drops it down to 5th gear in the first les mode. Now back down into the second les mode. Up to 6th. Now back up into the gears to get himself into the DRS. And flying on through towards the start chicane. He's got to have the entry just right. Hits 210. That's our first 210 I've seen. Hanging through the Ascari braking zone. Out of Ascari. Smooth sailing for Reese. Who's been really good. Who's been really handling himself well. It is unfortunate, like I said, when he moved from Red Bull down to V car, but he's really shown his stride and getting back in form here. Here he comes across the line, and he goes 5th fastest. And look at the gap. He is only 2 tenths behind both Red Bulls.
This is exactly what he should be doing. This is a great sight from Reese. This is a magical lap. But will it be enough? Because we surely have guys going out right now. Both McLarens are going out. And everybody else in danger. Josh retired from the session earlier on, maybe thinking his lap was good. He is 8th fastest. And he is at risk, especially with guys like Leo Lund down there, Cryptic, Reese's teammate down there, and also JTK, who is up there in the first session of qualifying. Before we start these laps and get to them fully, we have Maxwell and Cryptic on laps right now. We'll watch them. But I just want to mention some of these guys' first laps, like Cryptic and Leo, by the way, just for reference. I want to mention, in terms of seats, Cryptic's backed off. He'll go for another one later. And we'll go on board with Maxwell since he's backing off. I just want to say Maxwell returned to racing back in Baku in RPL. As for Andrea, I believe this is a reserve ride for him. And
Yes.
George, you said he's on loan. That's a big thing to mention, especially because he may be giving Jack some slipstream, maybe double slipstream here into Q3 if George makes it through. That's going to be the big thing. Who makes it through? Maxwell right now is on the cusp of being eliminated, and he is improving in Sector 2, but he needs more to go with it. Aaron Maxwell G, a previous race winner 10 times. Also a previous race winner, also a previous pole sitter, excuse me, 14 times. No pole today probably, but can it be Q3? Cross the line? This is an improvement, but only just. Will there be more improvements to come? Cryptic is gonna cross the line. He at least has a lap on the board, but now he needs to have a better lap on the board because that was a lap he backed off on. And importantly for Leo Lund, he's gonna need the help of Jack Miles not getting in his way, who's back out there. Jack Miles, he's probably on another lap as well because he thinks he's probably at risk as well. Leo Lund will be the first to cross Titan, but Leo cannot have a mistake-filled lap here. He needs to have a mistake-free lap. It's been a mistake-filled session so far.
Yeah, exactly. And regarding Sector 1, Leo pulled an identical lap to Tadpole in Sector 1. Going into the Sector 2 split, taking a look at the Sector 2 split, he is actually 2/10 above Tadpole right now. So checker flag is out. Leo Lund is going to be the first across, with Jack very close behind. Georgian as well. There we go. Let's see. Leo coming across the line. We'll go top of the board. Ooh, yeah. Look at that. Top of the board.
1-2 for McLaren.
18-4. Yeah. Jack right
JTK's in.
6. Yeah. George out. That's unfortunate for him. JTK is in, but
Cryptic crosses now.
Happens.
Titan Cryptic. Can he get in?
Oh.
Cryptic's out. Andrea got a slipstream from Maxwell. That's why Maxwell backed off there. Is Andrea going to get into Q3 at his home race? Yes! It's a double Italian Q3 from Florian and Andrea. Josh is out for Mercedes.
Jeez. We had one Merc Academy car, shock elimination in Q1. Now we got another one in Q2.
Well, Haas are in Q3 once again. Their team was the longest without a Q3 appearance of the recent appearances we've had, and Alpine is back. Alpine was there last week. VCarb, they're there again. Good to see them there. Leo, Jack, Tadpole, the top 3 in qualifying session number 2. Out of qualifying, Dom, he crashed. Maxwell didn't get the best of laps in. Cryptic, George, Josh, look at how far off those 3 were from JTK, who just snuck his way in there. Wow. That is very, very close. Josh, Gecko, Owen are surprises. That's the 3 big teams, 3 drivers for big teams. Aston, Mercedes, and Ferrari out. That puts 3 other teams in who normally wouldn't be. We have a VCarb in, we have an Alpine in, and we have a Haas in this session. We have 10 drivers now going for pole position. Time to give us your predictions. Here are our 10 drivers going for it. Florian van Zelter, who has not seen a pole in over a year. It has been since that Tier 2 season that he started off with in Season 10, the last time he saw a pole position, but he's never had one in Tier 1. This would be quite the place to do it. Andrea, I don't even know the last time he's been in Q3. It's been such a long time. But Andrea, welcome back to Q3, I guess, if he's ever been here. Home race for him. Leo Lund looking for 3 in a row in poles. Egg looking for his 2nd pole position in RPL. He's not won a race yet, Egg. 5 podiums without a victory. JTK, he is the all-time pole leader in Tier 2. Never had one in Tier 1, but Haas, they've had a best starting spot of 4th. Can that get replicated based on the way JTK was in Q1? I doubt it, but it's worth the question. Reese Dainty has had a pole here before. Has not had a pole in RPL in 2 seasons. KVS, he's never been on pole in RPL. Maybe an FE, I think, once, but that's about it. Tadpole, he's not had one, but he has had a front row start this season, so that would be great to see. And the Fake TB, one of the drivers who is not the best of qualifiers in the Red Bull. Maybe with a slipstream it could go his way. He has a total of 4 poles to his name. Same with Jack Miles, who is in this session trying to go for another one. Chat, give us your predictions. We'll give you predictions after our first runs are done. But Titan, who is your surprise into this session out of the guys like JTK, Reese, and Andrea? Because honestly, JTK after last week and even previous weeks, this is kind of be a normal thing, I would say. It's kind of be expected with him, and same with Reese Dainty, especially if one of those top cars are not in it. But Andrea would be mine. Andrea snookered his way through there.
I completely agree with you. Andrea getting himself in to Q3 just barely, and he actually got into the top 5 after Q2 was really impressive on his part. JTK putting the Haas in, that was really strong as well. Won't lie about that. Um, yeah, those two are definitely my good surprises. But with Reese, I would say even though he is in the V carb, he knows how to work that V carb, especially because before he was in Red Bull, he was in what was told Alpha Tauri beforehand. He knew how to work that car really well. So I think Reese putting it into Q3 wasn't expected. He was capable of doing it, and he did do that.
He was, but he had a banger of a lap, as the fake TB did recognize before the session. Nice academy love there between them two. Usually not the case between them two, I would say, but for Reese's case, he's not the best of qualifiers either, so that does have to come as at least a little bit of a surprise. Now everybody comes to Ascari here for the benchmark laps. We have the Mercedes in front of KVS pulling out of the way, but the fake TB, Florian, Tadpole, and one other driver in this train of cars, that's the Aston of Egg, all will be the benchmark lap times. Yes, Egg, yep. So let's see what happens. Florian first, then TB. What's the lap time going to be that they chase? Florian 18.4, TB 18.1, Egg crosses, Tadpole crosses, all behind the fake TB. Here comes Leo, Jack, they're on outlaps. We'll watch NRM KVS try to go for a first pole position right now. This is where the quest starts. He's right behind where that train was. So how do these guys get out of the way? How does KVS navigate this? How much slipstream do you want to pick up? Is there a thing called too much slipstream? That's going to be the big thing, especially if you're using your ERS a little bit in the process. That's where I think it's too much slipstream. 26-1 from Cavis. What does he do now coming through the second chicane? Picking up a toe and a bit of draft, you could say, from the Ferrari of Tadpole. The only Ferrari in this session, by the way. But those 4 laps that were set so far, all under half a second from each other. We'll see if that does end up remaining that way when everyone else crosses. Andrea will cross, I think, just now. One of our home drivers, one of our 2 home drivers. That might have been on validation, so that won't count. But KVS has never been on pole in RPL. This would be a nice shock for Mercedes. He's had some nice runs when he's been here. A podium in Austria earlier this season. As for KVS, when he was at Alpine Academy before coming over here, you got to put him in Miami. So what can KVS do? A podium finish last season here in Monza. Cross the line now. 18.8. He is slowest of them all. Now, Titan, here are your 2 boys at McLaren. What can they do?
Well, it'll be very interesting to see who is going to be top of the board for this one. One thing that's really crazy, TB's 18.1 and Florian's 18.4. That is the fastest we've seen for this event so far in this event. They are the fastest ones on this group. We have Leo and Jack staying in tow, staying in tandem as they head into the Ascari chicane. Leo working it nice and smooth through there. Jack's close behind, and with KDS, despite putting the slowest into the Ascari braking zone, he has set the fastest speed in the braking zone, 212 miles an hour for him. As Leo Lundau coming across the line now, and he puts it at the top by just about a tenth, and Jack slowest now with a 19.0.
51.9 and 52.1 with Jack and Leo when they crossed the sector split in Sector 2. Everything Jack lost, it had to have come from the final sector. Reese Dainty and JTK are our next ones in our quest for pole position. Reese Dainty goes 8th. JTK, probably right near Reese. No, he invalidated his lap time, so this is another go for JTK. Wherever he invalidated, it was probably at the end of the lap, because look at the amount of battery he has in check. Only 20%, which was just 8% moments ago. So, not good stuff there. If I had to predict Titan, I'm just going to say this right now. I think, I did say it in the Twitch chat earlier, Leo will get pole position, but I did not expect TB to be ahead of his teammate, especially because right now at this track, while practicing and everything, working itself out. I think Florian has been the faster driver so far this weekend, and even probably the more committed driver, putting in a lot more practice. But TB races a lot more leagues. TB has had a lot more pressure on him, so that does pay off, and it has paid off with a 3/10 buffer. So I'm gonna say this top three, two of the three will remain the same. I think Jack will probably sneak his way in there, but I just don't know where. I don't know where Jack is going to put himself when everything is said and done. I feel like he'll be there, but, man, I don't know. This is tough. One thing that's not tough is Leo pole position. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Leo definitely is going to be getting the pole position. Jack, I mean, I give the guy credit. He races really strong. He races well. Trying to put the best laps that he's able to do on the board. But I think for Jack to get into the top three, I mean, he could definitely challenge for it. But I think Jack is just gonna miss out. Probably within like a tenth of a second. But I wouldn't discredit him to get into that top three. I think he's got the capability to do it. But then you have the Red Bulls between TB and Florian. TB, as you mentioned, he races a lot of leagues, so he's got the practice, he's got the capability and the skill to do it. Florian, a bit on the untapped side in regards to racing in this high of a level, preferably in the Red Bull for Tier 1. He has been really good so far in this qualifying session, but I don't know. I think Florian could be the biggest surprise of the entire.
Oh, well, I don't know what happened to Titan there, but he was talking about Florian being the biggest surprise. I'm going to change controller batteries while that is the case. My batteries are low, and I do know the chat is talking about the Cocom mic, so I'm going to see if changing batteries does have an influence in fixing that. So give us just 10 seconds here. All right.
My headset died. That's what happened.
Well, we had a good timing there because I changed controller batteries right as you just came back, so we had some moments there. Let's give people a reminder. Leo Lund is going for 3 poles in a row, and what would be pole number 11. This would tie him with Reese Dainty for 6th on the all-time list. The fake TB is going for his first pole since Brazil of Season 8. The season he won the championship, and also the race he won the championship in RPL. Florian has never had a Tier 1 pole. He's had poles in Tier 2. Tadpole's only had 1 front row start. And Jack Miles, who's back there in 7th for McLaren, he has had 4 poles in RPL, but all those came in 4 different seasons. Can this be a 5th different season with a 5th pole? We'll find out now. Here comes the quest for a pole. We're going to give you the fake TB first, as long as he's the first car here. And then that's how things will be figured out here. No slipstream for TB. Keep this in mind. Everybody is all bunched together. So we're going to see how this goes as everybody tries to maximize the power of slipstream. Right now, with less than a minute remaining to go for pole.
TB can get it done as he goes into the first variant. He's got Florian right in close proximity to him. KBS also right behind him as well. It's a big gangle of cars far behind. Looks like we got 6 in one group, 4 in another group. Well, here comes TB. He's 2/10 down in Sector 1.
Teammate 2/10 up. That's a big difference there.
2/10 up?
Both, yeah. TB's 2/10 down, Florian's 2/10 up. KVS, 67 thousandths down in the first sector. What's Tadpole doing? I can't see it from him. Jack just crossed the first sector. Reese is crossing. Andrea's crossing. JTK's crossing. Here's both Red Bulls. TB down. Florian. I couldn't see if he was up, but we're going to look here now on the race director. He was up in the second sector. Florian is on a magical lap here, but is it enough for pole position? His teammate gets out of the way because he wasn't improving, so the fake TB done right there. Checkered flag is waving now for the last laps in Monza. Florian Van Zelter, the home favorite for Red Bull, crosses and goes pole! Leo Lund, still to go. He's up a 10th and he's getting slipstream from cars in front. Most importantly, a Ferrari Academy car. Tadpole fourth, KVS, Reese, Andrea, they've crossed. But here comes Leo Lund to snap back at it. Leo Lund takes back pole position from the home favorite. It was going Italy's way until Sweden, with Leo Lund, took it back. It's his 11th pole and third in a row. Leo Lund snuck it in at the last moment.
Good Lord.
That was a magical session. Leo Lund on pole, then Florian. TB remaining in the top 3. Jack Miles, only 7th for McLaren. That can be big in the constructors race if McLaren have a downfall tonight. Tadpole is 4th. Egg is 5th. KVS 6th. Then our big surprises who made Q3, Reese, Andrea, JTK, they all ended up 8th through 10th. We're expecting a one-stop tonight, by the way. And we're also expecting a big DRS train. And as I saw a lot of the drivers talk about in their academy chats or elsewhere, stay in DRS and you have a chance. That is pretty much it here. It's going to be a very big thing, DRS, ERS, and track limit penalties tonight. So, drivers will be making their last-minute changes. The clouds will be in the area a little bit, but won't get any worse throughout the session. Medium to hard, I'm expecting from most drivers. I see this on KVS's screen, medium to hard, so we're going to expect that to remain the same. Just a reminder, folks, for those of you wanting to keep up to date with our calendar, after tonight, we're going to Singapore next week, then Texas, Brazil, Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi to end off the season. Leo Lund may not be able to win the title tonight, but he can put himself in a better spot to do so in the upcoming weeks to become a brand new RPL champion. Right now he's on pole. And Titan, we've had turn 1 chaos before here at Monza. We had the season 7 special, I believe, on one of the restarts. We had the season 5 special with Beatnik. And I know I wish he was still here, but you know, we have had other starts that get chaotic here. Tier 2 had a chaotic one. We have 20 seconds until lights out. What are we expecting down at turn 1?
I mean, towards the back of the midfield, we'll see people tiptoeing, trying to scramble some positions. But I mean, we'll probably see maybe a collision, but not like a severe bad collision.
Any last-minute predictions, chat? Get them in now. We are at the Temple of Speed for round 14 with the 5 red lights kicking on now for Monza. Here we come. 5 red lights. It's time to bring the action here for Monza. Florian already moves over to pick up slipstream down to turn 1, and he's already pulling out. So is TB, who got an absolute amazing start. Florian down the inside of Leo. He pinches Leo at turn 1, and they collide. Leo got onto the curb, kicked into Florian. They both ghosted inside of one another, and that was also Williams getting forced off there at turn 2. Both Red Bulls are there to challenge. Florian Van Zelter's going for it at his home race to take the lead. Florian Van Zelter around the outside, side by side, both bouncing, pitching, contact. They wreck. Leo Lund is off. Florian Van Zelter is down to 4th, but guess who leads this race? It's Tadpole. Florian Van Zelter. Jack went off. I saw that in the gravel. Leo Lund down to 20th. Florian got aggressive, and it got nasty.
Yeah, coming out of that second variant, that was not going to go nicely there. There was contact, there was some bumping, and I mean, there was bumping when it came out of that second variant, and then the mishap there, and Leo all the way down. Oh, man. I think that was going to be expected to happen. I, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait. If that gets submitted in, that's gonna be an interesting.
That's going to go both
That's
ways,
gonna
I
be an
feel.
interesting decision.
That's going to go
Yeah.
both ways. Yeah, Jack
Like
is getting
Florian on the
Reese.
inside against KPS.
Yup. We have lots of moves. Dom fell down the order at Ascari, by the way, earlier on. The fake TB, he got collected in that mess. He is down to 10th. JTK is racing Josh. We have so much battles going on, and it's only lap 2 of this race. And for the second season running, a Ferrari leads this race after lap 1. Last season, it was Cookie who spun out of the lead on his own, and KVS led. This season, the two leaders collided. TB had nowhere to go, got a piece of it, so now Tadpole leads. And Florian Van Zelter, by the way, you see that end plate? He does have damage. Gecko, Owen, George, 3-car accident.
Gecko lost both end plates on his car. Owen with some significant damage on the right side. George, let's see. Yes, he's got damage also on the right side as well. So 3 cars, they had an incident in the second variant. So 2 laps in, 2 accidents, both at the second variant.
And all of them involving top cars, which could play a difference in this race. Florian is on the back of Egg, but remember, he has damage. He's got to be careful with these moves. I think that lap 1 incident, as we have Reese and Andrea switching places, I think that lap 1 incident, Leo was pinching, but Florian was not going to be denied there. He wanted to keep his nose in there, and he has also got second place now as he tries to brake and almost hits the back of our race leader, Tadpole. Gecko has got a 10-second for speeding. Owen's got a 10-second for colliding with George in the pit lane, and George is out of this race. George is gone. He is our first one out, and we have our positions gained on the side. Our biggest winner, Minico, 6 places. Our losers, Leo down 14 and TB down 5, but the big thing for Leo Titan is that he does not have any damage. He just has to claw his way through this field. It's about how he does it, though.
Yeah, just taking a look at it, at Leo right now. He is currently all over the back of Dom at this present moment. That is down in the 14th position right now. And Leo is, he's going to have to do basically a full factory reset to get himself claw back to positions that he had lost. But he is now up in the 14th. Now he has Cryptic to hunt down.
This is incredible. Florian Van Zelter has a damaged race car and is about to go for the race lead on Tadpole. Invade in the chat is rooting on his driver, giving him the motivation right here. And he got promoted to Ferrari just a little bit ago. A few months ago it was. Now, he's trying to hold off Florian Van Zelter, who's setting fast laps and going for the lead once again. He collided with Leo, and now Leo gets the fastest lap. But the guy who collided with Leo leads this race, and Florian locked it up at turn 1. Almost had a race-ending accident there. And you see the V-carb going over the curb. That is Reese. He was fighting TB. And also Jack, who was fighting Andrea, is now up to 5th. We're going to change it to the tires, but Owen is out of this race, and that has brought the safety car.
Yes, it has. And this is going to be a bit of a neutralizing of the field. And also the reason George retired, not only because of the wing damage, but he has moderate body damage. So that is why he called it quits, because of the body damage he sustained. Ah! Oh my god!
Florian Van Zelter, home favorite, has been hit with a drive-through under the full safety car.
Was he not paying attention?
Well, if he wasn't on lap 1, he definitely wasn't now. Wow. Well, just to keep you guys in check, we have JTK on the hards, Reese in the hards, KVS, Tadpole on the hards, everyone else is on mediums. You were saying, sorry?
I was gonna say maybe Leo's mind, if he saw there, he'd be like, well, that's karma back.
Right. Well, he is pitting and gonna fix that front wing damage, but who else is coming with him? Everybody. Oh boy, we're gonna have someone hit each other. This is gonna be very, very close into the pit lane. I'm surprised nobody did, but I saw Leo Lund take avoiding action, and there were a few others who did so. We're gonna have double stacks. Jack is one of them who is gonna double stack with Leo. I saw both Mercs do it too. This is gonna affect the outcome for many of these guys in the running order with double stacks. And some, keep in mind, did have damage. I believe that's why the fake TB was held there, if I'm correct. Might have been. Could be wrong.
I don't think it affected. I don't think it affected. I don't think it affected Leo too much because he actually, I believe, gained a spot from those pit stops because he came in 13th. He's back out in 10th.
12th. Unless the running order's bugged. Nope. No, it's not. Nope. 12th. Yeah, he's 12th. All right. Well, the drivers who did stay out: Siri Dom, JTK, Reese Dainty, KVS, and Tadpole. You want to talk about a capitalizing night? It's the 21st night of September. You know what it also is? It's Tadpole's race to lose right now, in my opinion. You have a Ferrari Academy driver with JTK right in between our net leader of Florian, Jack, Leo, all those guys back there. If there's a safety car to go in the way of Tadpole, he is in prime position. He still has yet to pit, but everyone thinks those cars can go to the end, but they won't have the pace advantage. They'll have the track position, but they won't have the pace advantage. What will be the bigger outlier in that area? The big thing I'm going to say right now, though, is with Leo Lund down there in 12th, I know he's probably, 5, 6, 7 spots away from the net lead. This still is a big chance for a brand new winner in the season, a first-time winner, and Josh is just dip a wheel in the grass under the safety car.
Hope he didn't spin out. I'll just take a look at those that pitted on that safety car on lap 4. We had 3 drivers come in to fix their wings. Egg, TB, and Cryptic have all gotten their wings replaced. Egg actually noted in the Discord that this is the second week in a row that TB and Egg have come together and Egg gets damage from it. Well, Egg, I think you'll be happy to know that TB also has damage as well. I'm not sure if it was from you guys tangling together or it could have been from that lap 1 incident. But also noting in there, we have a new fastest pit stop of the event, of the season. That being by Leo Lund, 1.996 seconds.
That's why he got out in front. Yeah. Yeah.
Then the previous, which was 2 races ago in Belgium, also by Leo, 1.999 seconds.
So I guess he's getting the Max Verstappen treatment when he's got the fastest car there, with having the best pit stops too. Well, you know who the safety car does help we have not talked about too much? Gecko. He got involved in the lap 1 incident with Owen and George. He was at the back of the field already from crashing on qualifying. Now he was put further back there after, I think it was a decent start. I don't remember too well with everything that was going on, as so much happened there in the first opening 2 laps. But Gecko's back in this. And you know who else I want to talk about? Penguin. He's on the medium tires. I don't know what their plan is, him and Gecko, to go on the medium tires here. But Penguin's on his debut. We've not heard a lot about him. You know what he could really do here? He could really try to help his academy teammates, that's for sure. Well, Egg has traded spots with somebody under the safety car there. I don't know if he fell back or something there, but yeah.
Desync, perhaps?
Maybe that could also be a thing. Maybe getting caught up in AI for a little too long. That does tend to happen. So one of the big things, though, is just keep in mind, Florian Van Zelter on this restart has the drive-through to serve. Our net leader is Jack Miles. Our net podium is Andrea and Josh joining him in Minico in P4. Keep that in mind when everything does cycle out. Same thing with the top 5 yet to pit. This is wild stuff.
It is very wild indeed. And I said that top 6, they got to pit later on. I think because of the safety car, they can stretch those cars just a little bit longer. And even if they have like a barely scrubbed set available to them, I think if they time it right with if another safety car happens later on, they could potentially go onto the softs and be fine.
That's what I'm interested to see if those hard runners are going to do that now that they've had a safety car happen. But we have the safety car coming in this lap. Tadpole leads this race. He has only had 1 RPL F1 podium to his name, and now he could be en route for his first victory. NRM KVS has had 5 podiums prior. This is one of the tracks he had one of those 5 podiums at. Reese Dainty has had only 1 point in Monza in the last 2 seasons. JTK, he's up there. He's yet to pit. Dom yet to pit. Florian has the drive-through. Jack, Andrea, Josh is our net top 3. Keep in mind all those things on this restart. Time to go once again. Tadpole leads this race. KVS is there. Wait, we have a wing being flown up in the air. That was damage from Reese Dainty and KVS, who've come to collision. Big incident and big drama already on the restart. That's the second time on one of our starts we've had damage to one of the drivers. JTK is up to 3rd. Dom is going down the inside on Reese for 4th place, and it's all scrambling behind that. That's the Haas tangling with the Mercedes. That's Miniko and Josh. They had an incident in Saudi Arabia. They might have one again, and they have. Josh down the grid, spun out.
I was on board with KBS. Tadpole was going, but then when they came out of Parabolica, Tadpole all of a sudden, I think, slowed down, and KBS got caught off, braked to not hit Tadpole, and Reese could not react in time, went into the back of KBS. KBS bounced into Tadpole. I'll be honest, that is true. Tadpole, I think, pulled a dummy maneuver, which is not allowed.
Reese Dainty has damage. Jack Miles goes around the outside. Leo Lund's getting assisted from all this happening. He's up to 9th. Now, making the move on Andrea. They're 3 wide right there momentarily. We also had as well Miniko having a big power slide out of Lesmo too. It's all happening. Into Parabolica. Leo Lund goes way out. Now, he's trying to make the overtakes, and now he's being the one overtaken from going too wide. Into the pits comes Florian Van Zelter serving the drive-through. Tadpole leads this race. Jack is 5th, trying to get 4th, and they're all scrambling for spots behind. Look at the mess we have going into turn 1.
Yeah, this is some wild moments here. Here comes Egg. Ooh, little side collision with Andrea. That's for 7th place between those two. But Egg is really firing on all cylinders to try and get through. But Reese falling apart because of that damage on the left side of the wing. He's got severe damage. I can easily say that safely. As Dom, by the way, just is passed by Leo. Leo is up in the 5th. I mean, literally, at the end of lap 1, Leo was all the way down in 20th, and now he's recovered back up to 5th.
Will he be facing the steward's room, though, for his lap 1 incident with Florian Van Zelter? Reese Dainty basically has half a car here, it looks like, with the way that front wing is missing on his left side. This is going to be catastrophic for Reese, but it looks like he's holding on quite well. It's behind him that's getting chaotic. The fake TB and Aaron Maxwell G, they're trying to navigate their way around Reese, and they can't do so. Reese Dainty is one of our only ones in this field right now with a penalty. That came on the restart. For our lead, Tadpole has it. KVS wants it. Will KVS lead this race now? Yes, he will. Both have yet to pit. Leo has overtaken Jack Miles. TB gets Maxwell. Now, Reese Dainty comes into the pit lane. He'll have to serve the 10-second with it. Egg goes through on Dom. 2 former friends there. Andrea bangs wheels with Dom, and we have a collision at the back.
Ooh.
The Kick Sauber gets involved. The V-Carb gets involved. I think Gecko may have got a piece, but that's about 6 cars all just scrambling around there, and Gecko does have damage. Gecko does have damage from whatever happened there. Miniko too.
Oh, man. That's the second time Gecko's got damage at this present moment, and before he wanted to get back into the points, TB was all the way down in 11th just about half a lap ago. He's now back in the points in 9th. Florian is all the way down in 13th. He's just going through the second variant now as the leader is hitting the Ascari chicane, and by the way, Andrea passes Dom to put himself into the 7th place spot, and TB, you don't see that every now and again, he overtook in the Ascari to get past Dom again in 8th.
That's how much Dom is struggling. TB, a risky move, and got it done. Up at the front of the field, JTK is being pressurized. How will he defend for the Academy teammate of Tadpole? Leo Lund is going fast. He sets the fastest lap, and Tadpole reclaims the top spot as we head to turn 1. Leo Lund is now 3rd. Tadpole is now 1st. What's going to happen behind that? We have Cryptic making the move on Cam, and Penguin in his debut getting the move done on Miniko. Miniko pulling over. That's because of the damage. He lets 2 Academy teammates go of Gecko and Penguin. So a lot of guys with damage, some staying out, some not. One of the guys who did pit for the damage was Reese Dainty. He's on mediums, Josh on softs.
Yeah, but Reese having to serve that 10-second penalty for that collision on the restart. That is going to be very crucial. So on Reese's end, he's going to have to hope for a safety car later on in order to get some kind of salvage in his race. Meanwhile, towards the front of the field, Leo Lund chasing, not close enough to get to KBS. But meanwhile, TB just passed Andrea for 7th.
Gecko also got Penguin. TB is on the back of Egg, and TB is blitzing fast right now with his speed, but can he get the move done cleanly? Leo Lund now gets this move done cleanly at Parabolica. He is through for 2nd place in this race on NRM KVS. Leo is fighting through the field and trying to get to Tadpole as quick as possible. He spun on lap 1 after the incident with Florian, and on lap 12 of this race, Leo Lund boosting alongside, locks the rears, gets ahead, leads this race. Gecko and Dom, they're into the pits, but Leo Lund trying to do a spin and win now may have to see the stewards. He'll probably try to pull a gap to make sure it's good enough regardless.
Absolutely, and Tadpole actually thinking about trying to fight back, but not close enough. Despite that, Tadpole's on almost 5 lap older tires than Leo Lund. I got to give him credit. He's still staying on and hanging on with them. A little further back, by the way, TB passed A to get into 6th place, and by the way, the newcomer of Penguin, he is in 10th right now. So he is looking right now, unofficially, he's right now looking at a point on his debut.
Will those tires last? That's going to be the question behind Penguin. Cryptic has overtaken Minico, and Cryptic is now chasing after Penguin. So Penguin, like I said, we'll need to make sure those tires last. But if they don't, he might be just helping his academy teammates right now. That may be what he's ordered to do. We don't know. Right now, Leo Lund at the front of the field leads this race over Tadpole. Will Tadpole overtake into turn 1? He is close enough. He's going for it. Gone. Tadpole out in front. Also, Andrea and Egg swap places. Cryptic is up to the points now in Monza. Tadpole, we speak about, the home favorites with Andrea and Florian because they're from Italy. But how about the teams that are? V-Carbon Ferrari. The Ferrari, though, is going to go from leading this race to now going to 2nd place by turn 4. Leo Lund back out in front.
Leo Lund gets it done in Curva Grande to get himself back into that lead. But now again, Tadpole, the DRS again, coming out of Lesmos and heading for Scary. By the way, Cryptic and Informed Penguin not done yet with their fight for the last point paying position. And he got it done in the 2nd variant. Josh is in the pits for speeding. Man, Josh is just really not having a good day.
It doesn't help that he qualified back there and got knocked out of Q2 in the first place. I really feel bad for Josh because he's got a lot of race pace in so many races, but the qualifying pace or the good qualifying spots never seems to be there. Jack and JTK have lost touch to the front of the field, so this will be crucial for Jack to get this move done now. He does. Tadpole is 6/10 adrift from Leo Lund. Will he intercept the lead once again as we get to about halfway? Tadpole is close, but he's not close enough for a move by turn 1, and he does stay behind Leo Lund. Further on back, Siri Dom is our first one to pick up a track limit penalty. That will be big for later on in our quest for points. Cryptic has been overtaken.
Yeah, just cashing it now. Torn Penguin down the inside, sends that slingshot in to get it done. And Cam is now our 2nd guy into the penalty box.
For our lead, Leo Lund's been vulnerable, but for how much longer? Tadpole had a look there into turn 4, and he did once again in the first Lesmo. It's heating up. It's heating up before they pit. How much longer will it?
And that is the question. Is by how much longer? Here comes Tadpole. Is he thinking to sneak on? No, he's not. He pulls off, but he's basically just putting that pressure on Leo to basically have Leo in a vulnerable state. I mean, literally, Leo was in a bit of a vulnerable state during qualifying, but Tadpole really keeping that pressure in tune and in touch. Not gonna lie there. But let's see, as these guys going down the main straight for for the start of lap number 15 of this event. Here comes Tadpole. Is he going to be close? Is he going to go for a send? No, not chancing it. He's not taking the risk. The one guy who is going to take something. Oh, never mind. Cryptic was going to attack Torn Penguin, but Torn Penguin has gone to the pits.
No surprise there. He needed a pit again. He was not going to make the rest of the race. Someone who may, though, is Reese Dainty. 4 laps on those mediums. He's the only one not on hard compound tires right now. Our top 4 are close, and Tadpole had a little rear lock there into the second chicane. He might lose DRS due to that. We'll find out if that's the case. If everything does pan out once our hard runners pit, we'll have the fake TB on the podium, and Andrea just outside of DRS for that podium spot at TB. He's back in DRS of the fake TB. I just saw the lap 2 incident replay from Cam's point of view posted in the Ferrari Discord server. It looked like George went off there at turn 4. I don't know if the Ferrari and the Aston of Gecko and Owen gave enough room, but that's how those guys collided. George ran in the runoff, came back on. I'm not sure if Owen was already coming down when Gecko was alongside in the middle, but that is how those 3 cars ended up colliding earlier on. Leo's lost a little bit in comparison to what he had on the gap with Tadpole, but we won't see a move this time at turn 1. ERS management-wise, they're around 40%. Let's look at Jack, 67%. He's behind KVS. This is why this is important for Jack. If he gets this move done on KVS, or at least gets to DRS of Leo, or 1 second of Leo, when KVS and Tadpole pit, it may be a race between both McLarens.
It is quite possible. It is quite possible, no doubt about it. And just, if you guys saw it at the top of the screen, Dom just picked up his second penalty, track penalty of the event. That was Indy Ascari. As I mentioned before, Ascari is notorious for warnings and penalties at this track.
And it's no surprise if our top 4 end up getting 1 at some point, because I've seen them push
TB's on JTK.
Like mad. Yes, he is. 5th place up for grabs. JTK yet to pit. TB has. JTK has been overtaken. TB has got yet another place, and he's 3 seconds away from being in DRS of Jack Miles. TB is going quite quick, but has he burned up his tires trying to overtake the cars that he has? Andrea needs to get by JTK if he wants to have a chance for what's going to be the net podium. Well, it is the net podium. It's going to be the podium when they pit. Speaking of pitting, here they go. Tadpole and KVS, and they don't speed.
JTK in 2.
So now Andrea has been promoted to 4th, Egg to 5th, and Maxwell and Cryptic will be battling for a points spot higher up soon here. This is nice from them, having some quiet races. Alpine, we've seen them win at Monza before with Lewis Piper. Right now they're running 4th and 6th with their drivers. Minico's on the points for Haas. V-Carb have points right now in their home race as well.
Apple and KVS are going to be coming out just around with Florian and Cam. Florian does get ahead of KVS though, but did not get Tadpole though. So Tadpole, very fresh mediums, he will have a bit of work to do to try to navigate some of the positions that he lost while out and about. KVS probably won't have much to deal with Florian, who has 12-lap-old hard on tires.
Minico just had a little bit of a moment there down at turn 4. Got in the grass, got in the gravel for just a second. Had a terrible entry at turn 4. It's not going his way, at least today. But the thing is, though, Minico right now has the track position over the guys behind him. Tadpole, Florian, KVS. I'm sure they'll be looking to overtake him anytime soon. Speaking of overtakes, Florian Van Zelter is under threat, and he's just been given a time penalty for track limits. So KVS, who's trying to overtake him, will have a little bit of an easier job. Down to turn 1, Andrea and Egg. They trade spots. That's for 4th and 5th. Gecko now is our 5th driver to have a track limit encounter, with a 3-second being handed to them.
Yeah, it's no doubt about that. Meanwhile, a little further back, here comes KVS. Gets past Florian to get himself into the 10th place spot, so he is back in the points. Florian is unfortunately out of the points. In the background, JTK passing Cam to get in the 12th, and Egg is in the penalty box from the very end.
That changes the race for the podium. Andrea will be in 4th when the penalties get applied, but There is a car in between Andrea and TB, and that car now has a penalty. So how does Andrea cope with this at his home race? We've spoke highly about Florian earlier on. He qualified up front on the front row, his best Tier 1 qualifying, then got in the accident with Leo Lund earlier on. But now, Andrea has never had a top 5 in RPL. He's only had, I think, 1, 2 points finishes, maybe 3 at the most. He's raced here a handful of times, but never has he been in a spot to get this high up in the results. Right now, he could be doing it with Egg going by TB here soon. And yes, there are multiple penalties still being handed out for drivers going out of bounds and being naughty with the track limits. TB has been overtaken by Egg. This makes Andrea's job a lot more easier now to go fight for the podium. How does Egg fight TB with that penalty?
It's gonna be quite the interesting fight, to say the least. And you mentioned about drivers facing some penalties. One on turn 1, by the way, Tadpole clearing Cryptic to get himself into P7. Minico is the newest person to get into the penalty box, but now he's under threat from KVS. This is for 9th place. On board with KVS as he's trying to eyeball a shot to go for it, but now Minico plants his car dead center in the middle of the track to keep KVS at bay, and he's gonna have to wait until the DRS zone in Ascari. No, maybe not. He's looking at for a shot on Lesbos. Ooh, little contact between KVS and Minico, but Minico, oh, no harm. I don't think there was any harm, serious harm there, but Minico loses out on 10th place, but then loses out the plus points to Florian. Florian is back in the points for now, but Minico's still thinking about trying to fight back. No, but almost lost it in the sky.
That was treacherous with where he got on the power there. Here comes the fake TB fighting at the front once again. 3rd place he's trying to reclaim. Andrea, what does he do? He doesn't have a penalty. Egg does. Andrea, up and under, down the inside, breaking late, and goes into the side of Egg because of it. Does Andrea have damage now? And most importantly, will that see the stewards and compromise his chance for a podium? He's lost DRS, Egg has, to TB. That will change things drastically. Here comes Florian Van Zelter now for 9th place. Has the penalty to spare, and KVS gives it up. So Florian Van Zelter, keep in mind, does still have the damage, gets 9th place over KVS.
He will be okay in regards to keeping the point currently, because he just lost the 10th place spot back to KVS. I was just about to say he would have been okay because he was just about clear of JTK. JTK is now within the 3 seconds of Florian at this present moment. And I didn't see it. I didn't catch it because I was on board with Andrea when he went for the overtake on Egg. I didn't know that they did make contact because I believe you caught that. But Andrea, when he went down the inside, he rear locked to try to prevent to not hit him.
And it still made contact with Egg, I believe, because
I
didn't get the best angle of it, but he ghosted, so must mean he hit him or came close. But here comes Andrea with another attempt at Egg. He cannot get by. Egg hangs on. The more important thing for Andrea, though, is that Egg is not in DRS here of TB, so really no chance to go get a podium. But still, it could be a 4th place finish for Alpine tonight if he does get the gap with Egg there. So DRS now with Cryptic, KVS, and Florian. DRS with JTK and Minico, 2 Haas teammates. DRS with Dom and Cam, and DRS with Reese and Penguin.
And there's still some DRS fights still available and about here. Closest one we got right now is KVS chasing Cryptic down for the 8th place spot. Tadpole is really trying to reel in Maxwell to get himself into 6th place. Now, unfortunately, Maxwell, his gap to his teammate Andrea is over 10 seconds. So unless Tadpole really puts in like 2 seconds a lap faster than Andrea, I think the max position that Tadpole is going to get is P6.
Florian gets Cryptic, Gecko gets Cam. More importantly, Andrea gets Egg. Now, can he go chase down TB for the last podium spot? Cookie made note that this is a crazy race only for it to end right now. McLaren, Red Bull, but Andrea is putting the gap down 1.4, 1.3. He is trying to use all that battery to get ERS, but I think the fake TB is in conservation mode, being at almost 40% in the battery.
I won't know if we have a late safety car. The top 5 will be perfectly fine to get themselves a free pit stop and not have their positions affected. Maxwell will lose quite a few spots if that happens on his end. The temple is within DRS.
Yeah, I kind of do want to see one. I'm not gonna lie, but that's just for the entertainment aspect being up here. Gecko is ahead of Cam. Gecko does have damage. And Reese Dainty moments ago did get Penguin. It's going to be another race where Reese Dainty is outside the points at Monza or not contending up where he should be. And I know that's because of obviously the strategy and everything going on, but also it's the same way for Gecko, who is under threat for his seat as well. We've noted a lot as Tadpole gets Maxwell. We've noted a lot how Reese lost his seat due to the performances, but the thing is, Gecko's under threat of that too, and I think he has only until Texas, and for Gecko to qualify back there due to crashing and qualifying, then to get involved in an accident, I know it's not been great, but, you know, there are some drivers like Leo, and he's got the car for sure, to be able to fight to the field. Gecko does not seem like he's one of those drivers today, especially on homeland for Ferrari. It's not a good sight, but we did see some overtakes moments ago. Most importantly, Egg is back ahead of Andrea.
Yes, he is. But to be fair, in regards to Reese, though, with him being down in P16, I'm just gonna safely say, him being down in P16 is not really his own fault. Because that safety car restart, the possible dummy that Tadpole did that threw KVS off and screwed up Reese in regards to the reaction. They didn't anticipate it. And Reese having to suffer with that 10-second penalty because of it. Honestly, if it is true that Tadpole did do a dummy and gets himself in trouble for it, truth be told, that's not Reese's fault.
Josh had an incident in a Ascari, by the way, and that was right in front of the leaders. He has no front wing on his car. He goes to the pit lane. Will Josh be trying to make a fastest lap attempt now after struggling right there? Move into turn 1. Andrea passes Egg for 4th place. Will we see the overtake done in 8th place as well? We have Florian Fenzelter on more ERS than KVS, and actually was just in none. So he was in conservation mode, trying to save ERS, maybe making a last-ditch effort here at Interim KVS. And if he does get by, he may be able to get the gap over Cryptic right now with the 3-second penalty at stake. I see what you mean about Reese's race, but I'm just not sure. You know, to start on hards, go long, I get it, but knowing RPL Monza history, this goes for JTK, this goes for Tadpole, KVS. I don't really know why starting on the hards was an idea to start with, especially knowing we usually get an early safety car anyway. And if I'm correct too, you may want to check this. I'm pretty sure Jack was telling me beforehand, and this was the case for F2, putting the safety car back on reduced. It might have been on reduced, and it still came out there with what happened earlier on. So if the safety car is on reduced, I understand going hard medium if they knew about that. But I'm not sure most people know about that anyway. I think that was something mentioned behind closed doors. So if that is the case for these guys, like who started on the hards,
in the penalty box.
Yeah, that is big. So that does help Florian, and that helps JTK. So those guys like JTK, KVS, Tadpole, and even Penguin and Reese, who stayed out on hards, I can't really comprehend why they started on the hards in the first place. I'm not a driver, but I definitely like an explanation for sure. Egg got Andrea, and you mentioned it. More importantly, Cryptic got the penalty, so JTK can get a point from this with just staying behind him and doing nothing, as long as he doesn't get a track limit penalty.
Yeah, and it actually breathes a bit of a more sigh of relief for Florian. But even if Cryptic didn't get a penalty, he's still behind. Cryptic's still behind Florian by over 4.5 seconds. So Florian still has the gap available now. But we're coming into the penultimate lap for Leo Lund, who on the track map is coming out of Parabolica. But for me, I'm on board with Florian as he's chasing down KDS to go into P8, but even though he'll try to fight for P8, he's not going to keep that P8 because of the penalty.
You will no longer have a safety car, by the way, but this fight for P12 right behind Florian is actually heating up quite a bit. Dom was all over Minico. Now he's all in front of Minico for 12th place. Dom also had a wiggle there, too. So unstable cars, probably unstable drivers with the races they've had. Egg gets overtaken for 4th place. Andrea now has it. Andrea's hope for a podium is pretty much done and dusted. He has to hope for TB to have a penalty in the stewards room, but the problem for Andrea is the move he made at turn 1 on Egg might even be seen in the stewards room itself, so that is a big thing. Do you try to submit anything on TB and then get something submitted on yourself? Big questions after this race for sure. Cryptic, JTK, now JTK has it on track. He also has the better tires compared to Cryptic. 21 laps in the hards. Those hards can last forever, but right now, we just saw change in places. Egg is up to 4th, and Leo Lund is about to start the final lap. Even if Leo Lund does get a penalty for lap 1, I would assume it'd be 10 seconds at most. And right now, Leo has that gap over Jack, so I don't think he's sweating anything too much. And he's put on a dominant performance today, to say the least, after that lap 1 incident.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. We're on a final lap here, but now I think the big focus is between Andrea and Egg. This is the fight for P4. Egg has about 45 to 50% ERS available. Andrea, 70% available to him. Here we go. Let's see what Andrea's going to do. He's not close enough to get the shot done. He's on none, while Egg is using the medium, just waiting and buying his time at this moment. Currently,
Here we go.
With Leo Lund on track. Florian passing KBS to get himself an 8th.
Florian does have a lot of damage, and he's still on the back of Maxwell now, going for another place on track. Florian, this guy does not give up, that's for sure. Cryptic on the back of JTK. We'll keep an eye out for that in a bit. Andrea on the back of Egg. We'll switch back to that in a moment, but Ian Maxwell G is actually fighting Florian quite hard, and almost a repeat of lap 1. Maxwell now gets a penalty. Even race between him and Florian. 3 wide. We'll switch back to this. Whoa! There's a collision. Florian off. Our race winner spun on lap number 1 and has come back beautifully and dominantly to take an 8th win in RPL. Probably one of his most hardest earned. Leo Lund wins in Monza. Jack Miles makes it a McLaren 1-2. The man second in the championship finishes behind the championship leader once again. And a fight on track here with Andrea and Egg. Andrea gets his best finish at his home race in RPL. He's P4. TB is our last podium sitter. What will happen here for 7th place with KVS, Maxwell, and Florian when they see the stewards? That will be the question. Tadpole's 6th, KVS 7th, and Maxwell G did get 8th. Florian, though, will miss out on beating JTK on penalties. JTK got him after the collision Florian had. Look at this, Kick Sauber fight. We have a Kick Sauber fight. We have a Kick Sauber fight for P16. Which stake is going to be in front of the other? Oh, no!
Oh.
Cam is off. You were saying something, Titan? I want to enjoy that battle one last time with the 2 Kicks out.
That's all good. I was going to say, I wonder if Maxwell could possibly get his track limit penalty taken off, because there was some bumping and banging between Maxwell and Florian. If Maxwell submits his race director and says like, well, I got shoved off enough, and that I got a penalty unfairly, I'd like to have it removed.
Yeah, but even if he does, I don't think he'll get another place from it regardless. The winner of Monza, the last 2 seasons, this season and last, had an incident on lap 1, spun on lap 1, and they came back to win. Leo Lund, I'm going to give him driver of the day. I'm going to give Leo Lund driver of the day, but I'm also going to give my big shout out of the day and 2nd place driver of the day spot to Andrea. Our podium celebrations kick underway. Leo Lund, for the 8th time in RPL Tier 1, is a race winner And he will spray the champagne. Not that he's old enough for it, though, but doesn't matter. He is that good. Yeah, I don't know who I would give for a third place spot, but yeah, my two, Leo and Andrea. I'm going to tell you right now, though, we've not had an all-academy podium in a long while as we see our results tighten. Andrea almost did that today for the McLaren Alpine Academy.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I, yeah, I agree with you completely on for Leo and Andrea for driver of the day contenders. No doubt about it. I'm stuck on a black screen.
Well, our two drivers we lost were George and Owen. You see our final finishers there on our screen. We go to Singapore next week, Titan, and Leo Lund will not win the championship there, that's for sure. But he extends his lead to, I believe, what is now a 75-point lead. That's 3 races and without a fastest lap. So realistically, if things keep going the way they are and he gets these finishes over Jack, and let's say Jack doesn't finish second once and he finishes behind Leo with winning, this could be won by Brazil. So Leo is looking quite well, as he always has the season, and is out in front to no surprise. But this was probably, out of all of them, his best drive. He gapped his teammate by 11 seconds after getting into a lap 1 incident. And yes, I know the safety car helped him quite a bit, but I don't think that matters. You still need to drive through the field. You still need to drive through other cars and make overtakes and drive beautifully. And he did just that. And for McLaren's sake, another 1-2 helps boost their confidence in the constructors, which gets them an even bigger lead over Red Bull.
Yeah, very much so. And I believe with some of these results going in, we're going to be seeing not only drivers but also constructors being knocked out of contention of winning the championships.
Correct. That is correct. Well, if you're a Tier 2 driver, I really hope you watched this stream and ended up taking a lot of advice from it for your race at Monza later on this week on Friday. And Tier 3 probably did the same a few weeks ago because they now have Spa for their event on Thursday, and F2 is in Imola next week, and F1's in Singapore. So we have a lot of things to look forward to in the upcoming week.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for it as well. And yeah, I forgot Tier 2. They're racing at Monza this week. This coming week, that's going to be very good for them. Tier 3 should probably take some notes as well because they are going to be at Monza in a few weeks for round 7 of their calendar. So that's going to be very good. That's going to be fun for those guys too. And hopefully for Tier 3, maybe some of the driving standards will be improving because from what I heard, I mean, I haven't seen the Tier 3 streams, but I heard that Tier 3 is not playing nice in regards to driving standards.
Yeah, I commentated that race, and I can say from watching parts of it back and also being there, it wasn't great, but it was much better than what the first 2 rounds were. So there's improvement, but it still needs to go a long way to get to where the tier coordinator Egg wants it to be. And for today's driving standards, I don't think today was bad, but I'm interested to see what stewards have to say about lap 1 with Leo and Florian, because if you want my honest thoughts about it before we end the stream, I want to talk about this once and for all. Leo, this is how I see it. Leo was pinching. Leo was not giving it up, and neither was Florian. You had 2 drivers, kind of like Hamilton and Max, going into one corner, and they were going to crash. Leo just gave Florian very minimal room, and Florian stuck his nose in there. Whether he's entitled to space or not, I don't know, but that's how I see the incident that happened at turn 1, 2, and down at turn 4 and 5. What matters, though, talking about it now, is one driver went on to win the race, and one driver had damaged the whole race and got back in the points. So they both recovered, but not really a lot on the Red Bull side of the garage. And that's also big rivalry-wise for McLaren versus Red Bull. We had Owen and Cookie collide in Hungary, but also now we've had Leo and Florian McLaren versus Red Bull happen once again here. Super big for the constructors. I'm not surprised about it, but maybe Florian van Zelter's one chance at a win this season was just gone right in front of our eyes, especially at his home race too, nonetheless.
Agreed. Very much agreed, so.
We're just going to have to see what they say about it. We'll keep you updated throughout the week, but in the meantime, Tier 3 at Spa, Tier 2 at Monza, F2 in Imola, F1 in Singapore, all happening next week for our last weekend of racing in RPL in the month of September. Ryan Searles, RPL Titan Iron, we're going to say goodnight to you. Have a good one. We'll see you next time. See you then.
Giggity.
Giggity, giggity.